Good evening, team. Happy Sunday. How are you all doing? Thumbs up if we're all good. Fabulous. And not giving a thumbs down option. We are all good. Lovely, team. Okay, this evening, we're going to have a little bit of a different class to usual. So we're going to be working through a little bit of mobility, and then we're going to move into some foam rolling and then some lower body stretching. So it's going to be a little bit more active than usual. Don't worry, nothing too much because it's a Sunday and no one wants that. Things to make sure you have are some water nearby, and then also make sure you've got a cushion, your mat if you're using one, and of course your foam roller. If you have a bobbly foam roller, then grab yourself a towel that you can just use to make it a little bit softer for you in case you need. If you're using a tennis ball or a golf ball or a wine bottle, all of those are absolutely fine as well. Perfect. Ali's here as well. Ali, you missed the invasion of the dog, but we're good to go. Right, team? Press play on those playlists for me if you're using them. Just some nice chilled out music to get us in the zone. And when you're ready, head on over to those mats. Make sure you've got everything. We're just going to get started with a little bit of rolling out those necks and those backs from the week. So first of all, just get yourself into a cross-legged position. And I just want you to kind of rock from side to side. So from one glute to the other glute. And just see if you can already feel any tension in those glutes at all. Are you hitting any points where you go, oh, yes, I have a bomb? Any points that you can feel. And just think about those now. When we get the foam roller in there later, I want you to think about really hitting those points. Coming back to center for me. We're just going to take those hands up, overhead, interlinking the fingers. Stretch up to that ceiling as far as you can. And then bringing yourself over to the right hand side. A nice deep breath in. And then out. And in again. And out. And over to the left hand side this time. Nice deep breath in. And out. One more in through that nose. And out through the mouth. Letting go of the hands, just reaching up to the ceiling and stretching, stretching, stretching as far away as you can. Bring the right hand down to the mat and bring the left hand over to the right hand side. Again, stretching through that side. Well done. Oh, you're all so smiley this evening. Everyone's clearly had a lovely weekend. Great news. Nice deep breath in. And out. One more in. And as you breathe out this time, I want you to come over to the other side, left hand down, right hand over as we come all the way over to the left. Nice deep breath in and out. Last one in and out. Bringing yourself back up to center. We're just going to stretch through the neck just a little bit. I know today we're mainly going to be lower body focused, so just getting a little bit of mobility back in those areas. So taking your left hand to the right hand side of your head, take the right arm out to the side and just slowly apply a little bit of pressure, tilting the head to the left. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just walk the fingers of the right hand a little bit further away from you, if you can. Nice deep breath in again. And as you breathe out this time, just a little bit more pressure to the head. Nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, think about walking those fingers just a tiny little millimeter further. And this time, as you breathe out, just a little bit more pressure on the hand and the head. Holding for 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing, taking the left hand down to the side. Right hand comes over to the left hand side of the head. Nice deep breath in. And as we breathe out, adding that pressure to the side of the head. Nice deep breath in again. And as you breathe out, just walking those fingers away from you. We're going to walk through the same circuit. So a nice deep breath in. A little bit more pressure to that head. Just a tiny bit. A nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just walk in those fingers, even if it's literally a millimeter, that's absolutely fine. One more breath in. And our final breath out, just a little bit more pressure to the neck, holding for 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to center carefully, just shake those shoulders and the neck off if you need to. Just give it a little bit of a wiggle. Carefully roll over your knees, coming to an all fours tabletop position. So we've got our knees under our hips and our hands under our shoulders. I'll wait for everyone to get there before we get started. Perfect. Lovely, guys. Okay, we are going to take the feet together, the knees out wide, and we're just going to slowly come back into our child's pose position. Now, I want you to think about widening those fingertips and really, really pushing those hands down into the floor whilst you're in this child's pose. We're going to be working through some frog rock backs today as well. So rather than using the child's pose for our hip opening, we're really using it to stretch through our back here as we start to transition from that upper body stretching through to the lower body. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just push a little bit more into that floor. You should hopefully feel those lats in the back of the shoulders engage and those shoulder blades as well. One more nice deep breath in and out. And carefully coming back up to tabletop, but keeping your legs wider where they were. We're going to take the feet out wider now. So your feet and your knees should be about the width of your mat. We're then going to come down onto the forearms on our arms. So this feels like a very weird position to start with, but it's gonna make sense in a minute. Carefully get those knees to a really careful position, and then we're just going to rock back. And you should start to feel a bit of a stretch in that groin and inner thigh area as you send that bum backwards. Now we're going to rock back. Slowly bring it forwards, rock back, and just keep this really mobile to begin with. Slowly forwards, backwards again, and slowly forwards. And when you feel ready, we're going to come into a deep hold here. So sending yourself backwards to where you start to feel that stretch between the thighs and holding. Now this can be quite an intense stretch. So if you need to bring your head down onto the arms to help, it's absolutely fine. Equally, if you need to continue with the more mobile version, please feel free to do so. Whilst you're in this position, I want you to think about whether you can open those knees up any wider to stretch any more deeply. And with every exhale, I just want you to inch just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit further back to open up in those thighs. Those hips and that groin area is something that I know a lot of you guys have found some tightness in this week. So hopefully these mobility and stretches that we're just going to do to start with are going to help iron that out a little bit before we get into our rolling. From where you are now, just try and center that breath for me again. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, pushing yourself a little bit further into the stretch. And we're just going to hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully bring yourself back up onto the hands. Slowly bring those knees in so we're back in our tabletop position. And we're just going to start working through some cat-cows. So rounding the shoulders, bringing the belly button in towards the spine, tail down to the floor, and then moving the other way, dropping the belly down to the floor, rolling the shoulders back, and sending the bum up to the sky. As always, we're going to have a few moments here for you to work through those cat-cows in your own time. Perhaps you need to add in some other movement here as well, some wiggles or shakes from side to side. Make a note while we're moving through here of any areas where you feel specific tension. You might want to flag and really focus on later in the class. Well done, guys. Keep those cat-cows going. Looking great, Ali. Well done. Looking good, Emily. Great work, guys. Final few, really tune into that breath as we drop the belly, eyes up to the sky, tail up to the ceiling, and then stretching those shoulders apart, rounding through, belly button to the spine. And when you're finished, just coming back to our neutral tabletop position, wiggling everything out, bringing the feet together, sending the knees wide, and back into child's pose once more. Again, with a focus on pushing those hands nice and deeply down. We're going to stay here for around 30 seconds. And then once again, we're going to work into that frog rock back to just open up those hips one more time. After that, we're going to be starting to stretch through those lower body muscles before we get that foam roller in there. Well done, guys. Keeping in that child's pose, just push a little bit more on those hands. For 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keeping your knees where they are. Bring yourself down onto the forearms and bring the feet out so that they're parallel to the knees. Send the bum up high and then slowly shift that weight backwards as you move into that groin stretch. Again, remember you might need to widen those knees a little to help you find it. Well done. Can be really quite intense, so try and focus on that breath while you're there. Options here are to work into the hold position if that's comfortable for you, or if you're more comfortable in the mobile version, coming forwards and then backwards, that's absolutely fine as well. Well done, Georgina. Nice, Dana. Looking good, and keeping those mobility ones for you, no problem. Now, if you're in those mobile ones, I just want you to come and join us for the final 10 seconds in that deep, wide stretch for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done, guys. Carefully bring your hands forwards. Bring yourself back up to a wide tabletop. Tuck your toes and come to a high plank position for me. We're not staying here, don't worry. Knees come to the floor nice and narrow, chest comes down. Hands either side of the chest as we push up into our first upward dog today. Wow, that's tight. Now, if you want your legs narrow, that's going to help with your core stretch. Legs wide is going to help work into those hips. So wherever you feel you need it is absolutely fine. And once you're comfortably in the stretch, just taking a look over from shoulder to shoulder, only if you want to. Absolutely fine. If you want to stay static, remember today's class is all about you finding where the body needs a little bit of TLC. Coming back to center, tucking the toes, going to send the bum up to the sky, feet flat, and come into a downward dog. Well done, guys. Once we reach that downward dog position, I want you to just pedal through those feet for me. So bring the heel up on the right foot and then the left foot, sinking the heel on the right and then the left, pedaling through nice and slowly, imagining that you're sending that bum up to the corner of the room where the top of the wall meets the edge of the ceiling, sending it nice and backwards. Great, Ali, well done. Good work, guys. Slowly now, just bring yourself to static heels down, walking the hands in towards the feet for me. And once you reach our bend over position, just grabbing onto the opposite elbows and giving yourself a sway from left to right. Keeping a bend in those knees if you need, that's absolutely fine. From left and back to right. One more time from left to right. Carefully letting go of those elbows and walking the hands now out to a high plank once again. Dropping those knees, chest to the floor, hands either side. Pick the opposite width as you did last time, and then pushing up through the hands into our upward dog. So if your legs were wide last time, we're going narrow this time. If they were narrow last time, we're going wide this time. Deep breaths and adding in those shoulder rotations only if you would like to. Well done. Just keeping it nice and slow. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Coming back to center, tucking the toes, sending the bum up to that corner again as we come into another downward dog. Still pedaling through those legs, but perhaps you're starting to feel that those hamstrings are maybe opening up a little bit. Perhaps you could stretch how long you're holding that heel down to the floor for. Keeping it nice and chilled. Really great work, guys. Well done. Perfect. Nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, I just want you to send both heels to the floor, even if the knees are bent, for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to take the right foot now and step it over towards the left hand for me. Then we're going to bring the knee of that leg down towards the right hand, stretching the left leg behind us as we slowly lower down into our pigeon stretch. Now, if you're up here on the hands and that's comfortable today to stretch through that glute, that's absolutely fine. If you want to come down onto those forearms or on to that full pigeon lying down, that's all good as well. Wherever you would like to be is absolutely fine. Now we're going to stay in this pigeon for around 1 minute. So it's going to be a longer pigeon stretch. This is our final opener before we move on to that foam roller. Looking good, Dana. Well done, G. Nice, Emily, well done. Nice deep breath in and out. Remember, if you need a barrier between two hand positions, get that cushion, pop it in there to help elevate you just a little bit. We're going to be here for another 20 seconds, just nice and deep breathing. Holding for 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully bring yourself back up onto the hands if you've been in a lower position. Tuck the toes on the left leg, send the right leg back to join and send that bum up. You might need to adjust those hands and back into our mobile downward dog again. Just walking through those feet. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So taking a nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, send those heels to the floor, even with bent knees, for 5, for 4, 3, nice, 2, and 1. Stepping the left foot towards the right hand this time. The knee comes down towards the left hand, stretching the right leg out behind us and coming into our pigeon on the other side. Again, if you're up on those hands, that's absolutely fine. Or you can come down onto those forearms, perhaps use your cushion to elevate you slightly. Or maybe you want to head all the way down. Have a little nap. That's absolutely fine as well. Now, again, as I always say, just make a mental note if one side feels a little bit tighter than the other. If it does, just know which side that is, so that we can make sure to focus on it throughout this coming week. Can't believe I'm talking about another week already. Be 2023 before we know it. Madness. Well done, guys. Closing down those eyes if you can for another 20 seconds here. Great work. Holding for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bringing yourself up onto those hands for me. Rather than coming up to our downward dog, we're just going to shuffle the legs back into a tabletop position. Slowly bring the bum down to one side and swing those legs round in front of us. If you did it a lot less gracefully than that, that's absolutely fine. I don't blame you. Coming down onto those bums, guys, it's time to find those foam rollers for me. You're all looking at me like you hate me. Fantastic. It's what I'm here for. I'm so pleased. Make sure you've got a cushion nearby. And if you've got a bobbly foam roller, then a blanket or a towel as well. Now, before we get started on the foam rolling, just want to make sure that we're all using an actual foam roller today. Thumbs up if we're using an actual foam roller. Fabulous. And who's got a bobbly foam roller? Thumbs up if you're bobbly. Everyone's bobbly. Excellent. Okay. I'm also bobbly, but I've forgotten my towel. Never mind. Painful for Lily. Now, the reason that we are going to potentially use that towel with those bobbly foam rollers is just because it softens the blow a little bit for us. So if at any point you're on that roller and you can feel this is a really tight area, lift yourself off and just lay the towel over the top of it. And that's going to take some of the impact from those bobbles away for you. So I'll leave you to make that decision as we go, but we're going to start off with our left hamstring. So just slide that foam roller under the left knee for me. Perfect. This is when someone leaves the Zoom because they don't want a foam roll. Fab. And we're carefully going to lift ourselves up onto those hands, taking the right foot as a little stand for us. So the right knee is bent. And then carefully, we're just going to use that right leg as a little lever to roll ourselves forward and then backwards. Keeping it really, really nice and slow on that roller. If you do want to add a count, you want to be counting from at least 1 to 10 from the bottom, the knee, up to the top, just below that glute. Now we're starting off just by working through the very middle, the very back of that hamstring. Now, a lot of you are probably going to find this feels all right because a lot of the tightness that we get as runners is on the sides of our muscles because we're constantly rotating through planes of motion. So carefully, just start to rotate your foot, your left foot to the right, and start rolling a little bit through the inner side of that. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, I'm not even running right now. Inside of that hamstring. And perhaps you'll start to find a few spots where you go, yeah, that's not nice. If you find a spot where that's not nice, guess what? Hold it there. Hold it there. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then just do a little bit of a rock just on that spot, really slowly and carefully. Keep the breathing going. And once you feel that spot start to ease off, come back into that full roll from bottom to top. If you need to come down on those hands at any point and reset, just give them a little wiggle out. It's absolutely fine. They can get a little bit sore. And then just bring yourself back in where you left off. Now, if anyone's really, really brave today, probably not those of you with a bobbly foam roller, but anyone on demand with a flat foam roller, you can lift your right leg off the floor and put your full weight onto that foam roller. That's going to add even more pressure. So just be aware of that before you try. But if you're keeping it on the floor, that's absolutely fine. Just if you can't get a little bit out, it's a good extra that you can try. Okay, moving that foot now from the right and rotating it outwards towards the left and coming onto the left hand side of the back of the hamstring. Again, you might find a few bits here that you didn't know were a bit tight. Just carefully counting, remember, from bottom to top, at least 10 slow counts. Yeah, Ali looks like she wants to kill me. Emily looks like she wants to kill me. Dana looks like she wants to kill me. George has turned her camera off because she knows it's the best thing for everyone right now. Well done, guys. Keep it going. Hey, if I make you laugh whilst you're foam rolling, it's like positive reinforcement, right? And you'll do it all the time because it makes you so happy. So it's all psychological, guys. Perfect. Okay, bring yourself back so that that foam roller is under the knee on the left leg. Shake off those wrists. Have a second. We're going to cross the right leg over to the left-hand side. So you're going to cross it over your body onto the left-hand side of the foam roller, and then you're going to tip yourself over onto your left-hand side. So you've got your left-hand IT band, so the outside of your left leg on top of the roller, and your right foot is supporting you over there. Now you're going to gradually start here to use that right leg once again as a lever. Oh my gosh, as we roll through that IT band really nice and slowly. Remember that towel. If it is just too sore, get that towel on there. If you're a little bit uncomfortable on those wrists, you've also got your cushion nearby. You can pop that underneath you and come down onto a forearm if that's more comfortable. And again, if you find any little points where you go, ouchie, hold, breathe, slow on that bit, slow rolls back and forwards on that little bit. And once you can feel that pressure start to ease off, go back to those 10-second ups and downs. Great work, guys. I know those IT bands are an absolute beast to get into. If you're very brave, you can remove that right foot, but I'd really not recommend it. Perfect. Good work, guys. Another couple of rolls up. And then all the way down one last time. Any little last bits? Those now. Once you're ready, just roll that foam roller back towards under the knee and unwrap yourself so that you are back on that bum. You'll be pleased to know we're now shuffling to the right leg. I'm just going to turn around because otherwise you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but you guys stay where you are. You're going to take the foam roller this time underneath that right knee. And we're going to work through exactly the same on this side. So when you're ready, carefully lifting yourself onto those hands. Left leg is bent this time with the foot nearest the roller. Lifting yourself up and just starting to slowly roll through that central back of the hamstring. Remember how this felt on the other side. Is this bit's probably feeling fairly all right. Fairly all right. So start to play with that foot positioning. Start to swivel it to the left and start to see whether working a little bit of the, oh, yep, the inside, hello, oh, of the hamstring. Perhaps you're finding a little bit there that you want to roll through and really work on. Remember those little rocks back and forwards on any spots that you find. Remember that breath is helping to break down that lactic acid. So remember, breathing is super important. I know that you're all like, I want to hold my breath. Try and breathe. And then coming back to those longer 10-second rolls once you're ready. If you're starting to feel all good on this side, then slowly rotating that foot out to the right-hand side now instead. And coming onto the outside of that hamstring. If you can find that your outside of your hamstring's absolutely fine, but the inside is feeling a little bit sad, then feel free to stay on that inside. Just work where you need to be. Looking good, guys. Well done. Nice work, Ali. Nice, Dana. Perfect, guys. Keep it going there for me. Last couple of seconds on that outside little bit. Couple more rolls all the way up and all the way back. And then rolling the foam roller back under the knee, coming to our resting position again. We're going to step the left leg over the right and slowly tip ourselves over onto the side, onto that IT band on this side this time. So all the way on the outside of that thigh, kind of coming into the front of the quad as well. And again, we're using that left foot as a lever to push us back. Oh my gosh, ow, arm forwards. And just really slowly starting to work up and down that IT band. Remember, when you reach any points, ow, like that. Just a little light rock backwards and forwards on there. Until you start to feel that breath and the pressure breaking down that lactic acid. And then rolling on to the next one. Great work, team. Looking fab. Remember that IT band runs all the way up into the glute. So really come up nice and high with that roller as well. Perfect, guys. Looking fab. Working through here for another moment or so. So if you need, remember, you can come down onto that forearm on a cushion if it's more comfortable for you. That cushion's just always there for us to provide a little bit of a breaker between us and the floor. Well done, guys. And carefully, when you're ready, just coming back to our resting position with that roller somewhat under your knees, or being in a complete twist like I am right now. Never mind. We are going to carefully roll over onto our fronts. So first of all, come to a nice kneeling position, bum on your heels, foam roller in front of you, and you want to make sure that that cushion is up on the top of your mat so you're ready to go. Have a little break, have a little bit of water if you need. And when everyone's looking good and ready, we're just going to move into the final little bit that we're going to foam roll today, which is down the front of those quads. I can probably already, if I had my glasses on, I could probably see you wincing right now. But don't worry, we're going to take it nice and slowly and carefully. So carefully bring yourself up to all fours. I want you to think about bringing yourself down to a low plank. A scary thought right now, but bring yourself onto those forearms for me on that cushion. And then as you take your right leg backwards, just slide that roller in for me. Now with your left leg, you're going to bring that up so it's bent and the foot is on the floor. And that's going to be your lever to roll backwards and forwards with. Now don't worry where your left foot lands. It doesn't matter. It's just there to help you push through backwards and forwards. And again, remember that that quad runs down the inside of the leg as well as just the top of the quad. So start to think about rotating yourself on that roller as well, perhaps more on the outside, or if you find that the inside of the quad is a bit tighter, perhaps there. And remember again that that quad inserts into our knee, so bringing the roller almost all the way down to that kneecap. Not quite, but almost. You may find the closer you bring it to your knee and the closer you bring it up to your hip, the more pressure you can feel. That's because that's where our insertion points are, and they're a little bit more likely to build up with that lactic acid. Well done, Ali. Great work. Remember those little rolls on any bobbly points that you find. Remember that towel is there to soften the impact if you need. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Use what you got. Guys, and just a couple more rolls, taking at least 10 counts from the top, almost all the way up in that groin to the bottom, almost all the way down by that knee. Well done, guys. And when you're ready, just lift yourself down onto the knee on the right hand side and come back to your little kneeling position for a second. We all good? Thumbs up if we're all good. I can see thumbs up without my glasses. But don't give me a thumbs down, Em. I can see that even though I haven't got my glasses on. Classic. Right, we're going to move over to that left leg. Don't worry, it is our last little bit of rolling. So when you're ready, just as we did on the right hand side, bringing yourself forward into that lowish plank position on your cushion. This time that right leg is going to come up and out to the right hand side to be our little lever, backwards and forwards. And then we're just going to carefully start rolling through that quad. If it's easier than having your foot up on, oh, that's really tight, ow, foot up on the floor, you can actually just bring your leg out to the side, bent, and use your knee as your lever instead. That's absolutely fine. Really nice and slow through that quad. Looking so good, guys. Well done. Nice, Dana. Remember, when we feel any of those points where we go, eek, we're holding. I know it seems counterproductive because it hurts, but honestly, I really need to learn some jokes so that I can start associating like fun with your foam rolling, don't I? Slowly backwards and forwards. Last few rolls now, all the way from the bottom to the top, remembering at least 10 counts, slowly counting in your head as you go. And when you're ready, slowly bring the knee on that left leg down to the floor and coming back to your kneeling position. You'll be pleased to know you might now put your foam roller to one side and see it again in 6 to 12 months. Hours. I meant hours, people. Have a nice little sip of water. And when you're ready, we are just going to come back down to our mats, but flip around so that we're on our backs. Make sure that cushion is there for you. We're just going to bring the base of the feet together and allow the knees to flop out to the side, just to counter stretch through all that glute stretching and rolling through those hamstrings, and also the groin stretching that we did earlier. Just going to finish off with one final stretch. So taking your left foot flat to the floor, bring your right foot up onto the knee, and we're going to come into our figure of four glute stretch. So pulling through the middle and carefully bring that left leg back towards you. Remember, we want to act like there's pressure on our right knee pushing away from us. So you're pulling the left knee towards, but it's almost as if you're pushing that right leg away, and that's going to activate a nice little stretch. If you want a bit more, move those hands from behind the leg to onto the shin. Nice deep breaths in and out, holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lowering that left foot down, uncross the right foot, bring that flat to the floor, cross the left leg over, and reaching through the gap on this side this time. Slowly bringing that figure of four. in towards the chest. And remembering that that left knee, there's a force pushing it away from you. Hands are pulling towards, and then there's a force pushing the left knee away. Nice deep breath in. If you haven't already, then start trying to close those eyes down a little. Holding for another 10, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly releasing that right leg all the way down to the floor this time, uncrossing the leg, the left leg, and bringing that flat as well. Bringing one hand to the belly and one hand to the chest. We've not had many moments of stillness in today's class, so we're just going to round off with a few moments here for yourself on the mat, closing those eyes down if you can, focusing on how the breath in lifts the chest and how the breath out lifts the belly. And whilst you're here, I just want you to think of 1 or 2, or if you've had many, 10 positive things that have happened this week. And I want you to take those into your next week with you. And I just want you to think for a few moments here about how you're going to take those through with you. I'm just going to leave you in silence for a few moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come back. If you'd like to stay here for a little bit longer, then be my guest. Please feel free to just tune out from the session now and remain here. If you're ready to round up today's session, then slowly just roll yourself over onto one side, a little bit like a fetus position. Then carefully, with your eyes still closed, using those hands to lift yourself up from the floor and cross those legs over for me, the opposite way to the way that you normally would. Bringing the hands carefully to rest on the knees. We're going to take a nice deep breath in together. And as we do so, I want you to lift that chin, relax those shoulders, and lift that chest up. A nice deep breath in. And as we breathe out, I want you to keep that posture nice and strong. And all together, we're just going to take one final deep breath in through the nose and sigh it away. When you're ready, carefully just opening those eyes really slowly back up, and I'm going to come on over. Well done, team. I hope we're feeling a little bit better and like we don't hate our foam rollers. Thumbs up if you now love your foam roller and it's the best thing ever. No one. Well done, guys. I know it's the one thing no one wants to do, which is why I always try and make you do it, because when you're doing it with friends, it's much better, right? And less painful when someone's chatting at you to distract you. So it's good. Well done, team. It was great to see you here this evening. Thank you for joining me on your Sunday evening. I hope you've got a lovely little evening planned. Perhaps you're just off for a bath or a roast or a book, or don't know what's on TV on Sunday evenings anymore, but the telly. If I don't speak to you again today, then I can't wait to chat to you tomorrow. Any questions or feedback on this weekend's training or anything, drop me a WhatsApp. I will stay on the call now in case anyone needs anything. And as always, I will chat to you all very shortly anyway. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, and have a nice evening. Bye, team.
Thanks, Lily.